recording at 4:32.
All right, this is a regular meeting of the Darien Sewer Commission. It is Tuesday, August 3rd, and we've called the meeting to order at 4:32. Meeting is occurring by remote video conference only in accordance with the agenda posted with the town clerk. First item on the agenda is to approve minutes from past meetings. We'll first take a look at the regular meeting of June 1st, whether there are any comments or edits from commission members.
I got an edit. Under 2, we can spell regulations a little differently.
That's correct. Thank you.
We could apparently we can spell it a whole bunch of different ways.
Yeah, right. R-E-G-U-A-L. I don't think so.
Yeah, that's a typo. But it
There's
means
another
someone's
similar
reading.
one.
I like it. Any other comments or edits?
The island is. Okay, that's all I have.
I think you got Reese's name right all the way through.
Yeah, well done. Thank you.
Any other comments or edits from other commission members? Hearing
Well,
none, I'll ask for a motion.
Given my name was spelled perfectly, I'll make a motion we approve.
Do I have a
I'll
second?
second that.
Peter seconds. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, I'll ask for a vote. Susan?
Yay.
Peter?
Yay.
Bob?
Yes.
Reese?
Yay.
And I'm a yes. It's a 5-0 approval of the June meeting minutes. I will now ask for a motion to approve the July minutes, which just say we didn't meet.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, quick roll call. Susan?
Mr. Chairman,
Oh, yeah, what?
I'm sorry. The same comment Peter had under regulations. Regular is also misspelled in that.
Okay. That's fine. I mean, I call a typo a Scrivener's error. I don't think you need a motion by the board to correct it, but thank you for noting it.
Small typo.
All right, so roll call. We've got to do roll calls on video calls, apparently. So Susan?
Yes.
Peter? He's nodding. Bob?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
And I'm a yes, so that's 5-0 on the July minutes.
Who was
as well.
first and second on that?
I was first. Made the
Yeah,
motion, Peter.
Reese and Peter again. Yeah, Reese and Peter.
Reese and
both
Peter,
times.
thank you.
We're
All
teaming up.
right, moving on to sewer user fee appeals. Item 3A on the agenda. We have a user appeal from Frank Sudell of 15 Lynn Court. I don't see a Frank on the call. Are we expecting the appellant to present? Or is
Not
this a simple
according-
one?
Not according to page 3A. It says not able to attend.
Thank you. Can anyone give us a little color on this, or sewer payment consideration interest?
Yeah, I mean, I can only give what's on the sheet here. It's an elderly couple that would like to establish a payment plan and are asking us to waive the interest.
Well, that's not outrageous.
I just don't have any recollection how we've handled similar cases in the past. Do you have any recollection, Darren?
My recollection is that the commission has taken these sort of things on a case-by-case basis. So I don't recall if in this particular situation like this, the commission has agreed to waive the interest or not.
$500 plus $50 a month is their payment plan. Well, do we have any thoughts from commission members on whether or not to grant the appeal?
I mean, if that's their payment plan, then they would be caught up within a year, and I would not have an issue with doing it, with waiving the interest if they were to stay by this payment plan. But I don't know, can I make a motion where it's dependent on them staying by their payment plan? Or is that going too far?
Yeah, I think so we could say something like, if all charges are paid within a year of today's date, that we waive any remaining interest.
I mean, I would be good with that. I mean, do you need me to make that as a motion?
Sure.
If all payments are made on the amount due, the $940.41 within 1 year, then the interest shall be waived.
Wait a minute. It says law requires that interest be charged and collected on all past due property tax installments. That doesn't sound like it gives us the option. To me, it does.
Yes, but this is not is this considered a property tax? I don't believe so.
Yeah, I think we are.
This is a sewer usage fee.
No, it's a well.
I'm with Bob. I think we are the ultimate determiner of assessments and charges associated with the sewers. I think it's not in the tax collectors. They're not the final determiner in this particular case because it's directly related to sewers.
Well, if that's so, then I have no objection to this.
The only one question I have now that I'm looking at it is the liens part. Was that already like?
That's probably to file the lien, the cost to file the lien at the town clerk's office. That'd be my guess.
Yeah,
we
expended that money.
We've expended that. So I would not be in favor of expunging the liens, only expunging the interest.
Yeah, that gets paid. That gets paid.
Understood. So we have a motion on the floor that if the amount due and liens are paid within 12 months, that we will waive the interest charges. It sounded like Peter was the second to that motion.
I'll second that.
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Okay, so roll call vote. Susan?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes.
Reese?
Yes.
Yes, so the appeal is granted to waive the interest should the payments be paid on schedule.
So the total amount to be paid will be $1,012.41 on the back.
Yes.
Past due.
All right, now we are moving on the agenda. I'm just going to take it in order unless somebody tells me that I should do otherwise. We have item number 4, 128 Camp Avenue request for sewer extension.
How many is that?
All right, I'll give you a little synopsis. I did give you a copy of the email from the property owner. There is a significant difference. It's quite a distance up Camp Avenue to their property, but they are on septic currently, and would like to know if we would entertain extending the sewer up to their house. I think that's about as simple as I can make it. We of course
Where
need
does the
your,
sewer end? Jackson Place approximately?
no, it's
Number
not that
107,
far down. What's it, 126? I think it's like 97.
the sewer ends at number 107 Camp Avenue. It was
107.
Installed by REM Developers.
Well, it's not too bad. It's a couple hundred feet, a few hundred feet.
Connection fee will be due of a developer pro rata assessment of 19,000 and change.
Well, look, my view is not changed on this. I think a sewer connection is better than a poor septic system. And, you know, I don't, you know, we have had a policy of thoughtful extensions of our sewers being okay. We are not we haven't had a anti-sewer extension policy, so I see no reason why if technical and legal standards are met, we wouldn't be in favor of it, but I'll let others chime in. If you want a visual, I can give you a quick visual. I'll give you a quick visual. This is the town GIS. So the property in question is highlighted in green. That's now it's highlighted in blue. That's 128 Camp Ave. And I guess right here, this house at 107 Camp Ave has sewers.
Yeah, right at the letter C.
Yeah.
Right is the last manhole.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know that 107 is connected. I'm not sure about the house across the street, but that leaves, you know, basically 3 or 4
1, 2, 3,
homes
4.
across.
Yeah. We got to get from C to C.
C to C, yeah, maybe up a little further to get to 128, but yeah,
C to A. Yeah.
C to A.
The sewer stops there because it was 107 who extended the sewer in order to build that house.
So you're not looking for official action by the sewer commission because we can't give official action without an official proposal, but if you're looking for consensus, is there anyone opposed on merit to extending the sewer?
Absolutely not.
Okay, I didn't hear anything. So is that the consensus you needed for this meeting?
Wait, whoa.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with extending it. I have a problem with the fact that it could be put in front of someone's house, and right now the connection fee just for a number would be $20,000. And 20 years from now, someone could connect and still only have to pay $20,000. I have a problem with that because the town is outlaying the money and it's losing something in the town's interest. And if the individual or if the property connects 20 years from now, there should be an upgraded expense for that. So that's where I have
we're
a
not
problem.
looking at an estimate or a developer's agreement or a future payment to connect document, right? We're looking at, do we generally think it's an okay idea, right? And so I believe we're all
Okay,
saying we
so
generally
yes.
think it's an okay idea. But your point is well taken, you know, and something that we could discuss perhaps with the town attorney when we actually have a developer's agreement to look at.
So we're suggesting that
Darren is raising his hand. You can just talk, Darren.
I want to be rude. If the town decides to put the project in, connection to the existing sewer will be a project cost. Everybody who is directly benefited from a town project will not get to wait 20 years. They will have to pay an assessment immediately. If the people on the street want to pursue a developer's agreement, that is true. That would be then they would have the option of waiting.
But that's a private agreement where the developer outlays the money today and then looks to recover it later.
Correct.
So it might not come up, Bob, depending on how this is done.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
I mean, can we, as a commission, decide to extend that and, charge an assessment fee? I mean, do the landowners have to agree to it?
Well, they don't have to, but our protocol in the past has been to get more than half of the fronting landowners to sign a consent form.
Well, maybe we could query the other landowners and find out if they want it. I mean,
Oh, yeah,
I
but this-
That is in fact part of the process.
So again, this is, are we a hard no? We don't want to extend this sewer, and we're saying, no, we're not a hard no. But you got to follow the process.
And since you said, and since you didn't say hard no, I assume that means staff come back with some numbers, see if it's feasible.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what
what
I'm
I'm
hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
We good on this one, folks?
No, actually, I would like to answer one question and or statement that the person made in this.
Okay.
It's their wording is this experience also makes me wonder if septic systems could be better regulated by the town or state. Would my question would be, would you like someone knocking on your door, coming in and going, I'm here to inspect your septic system? And I have to believe that most people believe that the septic system is out of sight, out of mind, and would be very upset if a town employee or a state employee came knocking on their door asking to inspect their septic system.
Well, as far as the sewer commission is concerned, we do not regulate septic systems. That's up to the health department locally and the health department at the state. And septic systems are private subsurface sewage disposal systems and are the responsibility of the private owner to maintain. It's my way of saying I'm not going to get involved in the discussion.
I agree with you, but I'm just saying, I comments directed at me as a commission member, I feel like I have to answer one way or another.
Yes, you do.
So that's just me.
All right, item 5 on the agenda, Darien Corbin Drive, permission to discharge. What do we got here? Okay. Okay, this is because they're just, I'm on number 5.
Yeah, this was notification we received from the Stamford WPCA regarding Baywater's project on Corbin Drive and the possibility that they would need to do soil remediation and groundwater remediation as they did work at the gas station and along the other properties at their underground fuel tanks. So they put it in ahead of time just in case, so it wouldn't hold them up. My conversation or Anthony's conversation with Baywater, it appears that they didn't find any, to my knowledge, any issues with the gas station or any of the other properties. So they won't be, from what I understand, they won't be using this permit to discharge water from their property, groundwater from their property.
Okay. Well, so it was a pro forma notification from the DEP, permitting process to the WPCA, and they don't need to use it. That's easy. We can do nothing. Any further question or discussion on item number 5? All right. Item number 6, storm of July 9th, 2021. You've got written sump pumps, check valves, and public information letters. but let us know what you got in mind here.
I think Craig, I don't know if there's anyone here to speak on this topic. Maybe they would like to go first. I think that was the idea was to talk about the storm and then talk about sump pumps, check valves, informational letters, kind of wrapping it all together is kind of why we put it all under the same topic.
All right, so you would like me to check with the public to see if anybody would like to share comments that might be related to the storm of July 9, 2021. If that's the case, raise your hand or unmute yourself. Okay, Mr. Oben, I'll recognize you. Please provide your public comment.
Yes, okay. My name is Rolf Oben. I reside at 9 Archer Lane. I'm a member of the RTM Public Works Committee. And I'm just dialing in here with the meeting in the aftermath of the storm because it was so severe and the impact to the town was also very severe. And I know that we had approved financing to move ahead with examination of the sewer system to see where there are weaknesses and piping that needs to be addressed. And so our interest as the Works Committee is to try and understand how that's progressing and if there's any assistance we can lend towards possibly helping this project to move forward as expeditiously as possible, given the results from the storm. I understand that the normal daily water affluent, if you will, that's processed through our pumps is roughly 1 million gallons per day, but it peaked during the storm up to as much as 4.8 million gallons, which is unbelievable. So that's why I'm dialing in today to express our interest in this regard.
Thank you, sir. And we can get you answer to those questions. Looks like it was on our agenda anyway under 9A, talk about an update of the study. But I'll let Ed fill in after we've heard from any other members of the public that wish to speak to the storm. Are there any other members of the public wishing to provide comment relative to a rainfall event on July 9th, 2021? I see a Monica McNally on the call, but she seems to be muted. I don't know if, there you go.
Hi, Craig. No, I'm tuning in pretty much the same as Rolf, just looking for an
okay.
update.
Got it. I got it. Okay. Thank you very much. Ed, do you want to answer the questions directly now? Maybe cover some of your superintendent's report now? Does that make sense?
No, absolutely. You know, they're all welcome to stay to hear the rest of it too, but obviously they'd like to hear about how our project is going right now. I will tell you that we're in the final stages of the testing that we're supposed to be doing. We normally, at this point, would have done the dry weather testing in July. And I think you can all appreciate the fact that we didn't get much dry weather in July. So we are currently scheduled now for September 1st to go out and do the fog testing, which is a dry weather event, no water in the pipe. We shouldn't have groundwater or rainwater. So we're going to try to find with this testing illicit connections, and that's going to be a big tip.
Yeah, if I may add, maybe just for the edification of the public and our RTM representatives, maybe step back and talk about the testing and research and mapping that has been done over the last year, just in broad form, you know, because this is the last piece of a really fulsome set of flow testing.
And one other thing, I believe you misspoke. I believe you meant to say smoke testing, not fog testing.
No, I said fog testing, Bob.
Fog is fats, oils, and greases in the wastewater system.
Yeah, I'm doing the fog as in the white stuff in the air, Bob. Smoke testing scares people. We're trying to lighten it up so the folks don't don't get all nervous about what we'd like to do. But if you will, I'll use smoke testing while you're on the call.
I'm just, fog is something entirely different than the stuff that rolls in off the ocean.
But Ed has to communicate with lay people that don't immediately associate fog with fats, oils, and greases. So I think you're
Okay.
both right. You're both.
All right.
I'll be willing to listen to it as fog.
Thank you, Bob. So I will
okay, back up a little bit.
Let me start where we took off from. But first, I just want to, Rolf, I want to give you a little bit of an explanation. Those numbers on those flows were just at our Stony Brook station. That was where we had the most impact from this storm. And it's also the largest sewer area. It covers 2/3 of the town. So we monitor that as kind of a gauge of what our other areas are doing. And usually that is the main reason we selected that sewer shed to begin with. So we've done quite a bit of night work, night testing. We go out, we're checking for, during high groundwater seasons, infiltration into our system. So during the night, we had groups out there opening manholes, looking for flows that shouldn't be there at night. Most people are sleeping. And these were the areas we were able to identify as areas that we needed special attention, with the pipe lining, or that would be sewer lateral lining, or even manhole sealing and lining of those structures. Water getting into our system that shouldn't be there. So we've done quite a bit of that right now. We also set up at the very beginning 9 metering stations throughout the sewer shed for Stony Brook. And that helped us identify where we needed to concentrate our night work at. So kind of step by step, meter the 9 areas, identify the high 3 or 4 areas, go after those areas, identify the pipe section. So we're narrowing it down where we should focus our money and our attention and our capital improvements. The last piece, like I just spoke about, was doing the smoke testing in the system to identify during dry season any illicit connections. That's going to help us identify other areas that should not be connected, whether it be roof drains, catch basins, lawn inlets, anything that collects rainwater and directly distributes to our sewer system. While we were doing all this work, we also updated our GIS system. We had all of the manholes that we were opening located and data collected on types of pipes, inverts, and so on, and conditions of the manhole, so that we can go back and look at that data. That we've been doing now for about, I'm gonna say about a year, maybe a little less than a year right now. We're hoping to finish this dry weather testing soon, so that we can put together a plan, a capital plan, that we can spend that 2.3 bonded money that I had addressed and asked for last year. So I wanted to get ahead of that. I got the bonding ready. We're going to get a capital plan, and hopefully by March of next year, when the weather is appropriate for doing lining and epoxy work, we can jump into that work. So that's where we are right now. Craig, did I miss anything?
That was a good broad overview. Rolf, did you have a question?
Yeah, well, I mean, that sounds great, Ed. Then thank you. My question is, if you are able to move ahead with the dry testing as you are planning, when do you think your total plan would be ready to be presented, and so that it can be reviewed and then implemented?
Well, like I indicated, September done. We'll get the report back in October, a capital work plan through the November, December, January time, approval by the DEEP, implementation March, April. That is my goal. As soon as the weather warms up, we're ready to go.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and no, I mean, we're very tuned into this. No one wants this to move quicker than us, but we also can't just run out and do things. We want to make sure we're doing those things that give us the biggest bang for the buck. That's basically to bring the study down into a nutshell. We're trying to find the weakest parts of the system where spending dollars would give us the biggest gains. Yes, sir.
Yeah, if I may. So we also have a consent agreement with Save the Sound, and am I assuming correctly that the schedule that Ed just mentioned is in accordance with that agreement? And if not, do we need to ask for any sort of force majeure extension on that time frame of that agreement?
Rolf, as of June, when I submitted my first report, we were about 6 months ahead of schedule with their deadlines. I plan on staying out in front of that, though I do have to report to them every December. We're staying on track with their requirements as part of that consent decree.
If I may, one other question. When you complete your work in September, October, and you get a better overall idea of what's before you and what you have to deal with, yes, there is funding that's been appropriated. Would you also know at that time whether additional work will be required, and will you be prepared to come back to the town if that's the case and present your case in that regard?
Well, Rolf, I expect this to be 2, 3, 4 phases of work. So I will be coming back multiple times to update and to request additional bonding so that I can continue the capital work and continue the engineering work to identify areas of biggest or greatest concern so we can target those areas.
Yeah, I agree with Ed's description. This is the first phase of likely a multi-phase, multi-year effort. It's 88 miles of sewer. It can't all be evaluated immediately, but the idea is to evaluate. What did we say? We say 10% a year or something like that of the Stony Brook sewer shed in detail. But we're going for the worst 10% first. That's really the idea.
Hey, Craig?
Yes.
Ed, quick question. So are you doing testing only on Stony? You're not looking anywhere else right now? And when are you going to do testing on the other third?
Monica, what we do have in the other areas are some metered crossings that kind of give us an idea if we have a heavy groundwater issue or infiltration issue in those areas. So when we sat down with the engineer at the very beginning, we identified Stony Brook because of 2 reasons. Number one, it's 2/3 of our system. It's almost 50, 60 miles of the sewer system included in that. There's also the indication, like I just mentioned to Rolf, the highest infiltration rates and these pumps work the hardest at Stony Brook, indicating we have a very, very large flow of I&I coming into our system. So that's the 2 reasons we targeted that area.
Yeah, we already have some data. We know that there's a problem in the Stony Brook watershed, and there doesn't seem to be a problem of as significant a degree in the other areas.
Okay, answers my question. Thanks.
I think the only other thing that we talk about sump pumps and check valves. To date, we have been hesitant to be more forceful about finding and eliminating illicit sump pump connections, because that involves the town being in someone's basement telling them they have to change something. I think this study will help us focus on those areas where the greatest problems are, but we're also going to have to come to the terms with the fact that we have to get these sump pumps disconnected, period. We might become somewhat unpopular in that effort, but it's for the benefit of public health and welfare.
I don't know if I was able to speak to you, Craig, but just a good indicator of a certain area in town, the Seagate pump station, which isn't a large area that takes in. When all of our pumps had shut down after the storm, let's say 12 hours or so, rolled back to one pump, rolled back to their normal flows or pretty close. 24 hours later, Seagate was still pumping at 2 pumps full out. which means there were some pumps filling our system and the pumps having to remove that from our sewer system. So that's an area that's a good indicator. We're in a really hard photo or a hard snapshot of where we stand with these sump pumps. They have a very, very large impact, and it's easy to see when everything shuts down and something is still running at that magnitude.
Yeah. So that's coming. We're going to have to develop a program and a protocol for having these sump pumps disconnected. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Rob?
in that regard, have you considered any sort of public relations reach out? I see on the agenda here that under the superintendent's report to use the sewer billing for public service announcements. Would that possibly be a way that the sewer commission can reach out to everybody and try and impress upon them the urgency about illicit sump pumps?
Yeah, I think that's a good pick up there, Ralph. And number 6, also, we put public information letters. I am going to request that the sewer commission approve me putting in our check valve and sump pump letter again in with the sewer billing this year. I'd like to do that. I also would.
I think this would be the 4th year in a row.
This is
At least the third.
4 out of 5. I think we skipped 1 year. It is included in your packet, commissioners. The other piece is also included in the packet too, which I found. Unfortunately, that there's always the what to do if we do have a sewer backup, and I think it's important that we, if possible, and you guys think this fact sheet is actually good. It comes from the Connecticut Department of Health, a way to send them a link or get them to this link, so that this could help them. No one wants to have a sewer backup, and no one's ever ready to have a sewer backup, but maybe having some information on possibly what to do would be a good start. And then talking to folks about back valves again, I'm more than happy to take those calls and talk to people and meet at their houses, look at their basements. I did quite a few of them a couple of years ago. I'm still available to do that. Anything to avoid some of the instances you folks saw in your packets, so with some of the emails.
Yeah, we can take that under superintendent's report for official vote.
Okay.
Any other comments from commissioners related to July 9 before we move on and cover a lot of this stuff under the superintendent's report? Is that good with you, Ed, if we move on right now?
I'm sorry?
Good with you if we move on?
I'm ready to go.
Item 7, setting of sewer user rate fees, discussion and action.
Okay, this is Craig's favorite part of the year. Him and I get to smile politely across the table, and then we just have to do it through the camera. I did put in. Did I put it in here? I think I did. Yeah, I did put in here. All of the graphs I normally give you folks, the spreadsheet, but let's hop right to page 5 of 5, please. And I just want to walk you down what I was seeing when I did the spreadsheet, which is page 1. So we're looking at a rate that we have currently, and on the spreadsheet it's probably real easy to see, a current rate of $6.55 per CCF. And if I apply all of the expenses for next year and capital improvements, bonding costs, and so on, it appears from the flows that we will be in excess of $150,000 with no rate change at all.
We'll be in the red, or we'll have a surplus of 150 if we don't change
$150,000. I did give you a couple other scenarios in case you wanted to look at 1.5%, 2%, 2.5%, 3%. I want to give you a flavor of what we're looking at with regards to a surplus, if you will, going forward. I think what I'd like to mention, and I think now's a good time, is to go back to that page 7, I'm sorry, and see what our flows had done over the last couple of years. I think that's important. And look at the hit that.
Item 7, page 505, top of the page.
Correct. Understanding that our fund balance has taken a hit over the last couple of years and will again this year to the tune of about $360,000. And I'm going to explain that a little bit in depth in a second, but look at the water use data that we had from FY17 to 18. We're seeing a drop, and then in 20 we saw another drop. 21.
People were using less water, and since that's what we bill on, it's like your grand list value going down. Therefore, our rate had to go up in order to effectively cover the same budget, even though the budget was tweaking up at the same time. So, but now this year, this seemed to be a reversal of a long-term trend where there's been an increase in water usage, which is probably leading us to that surplus.
That is correct. And with that increase, looking at the I&I impact, and which I think is important, our flow to Stanford was almost 800 mg, but our water use was 460.
Look at that.
It looked like a slight reduction in our I&I, but I attribute that to the reduction in the rain that we had, in the lower groundwater issues that we had throughout the year. So that kind of balances out there. So if you ask me how I figure out our budget and how we go and approach this type of thing, these are the numbers I have to look at.
Yep.
You know, and not knowing if Stanford's going to get 2.5 million in nitrogen credits, or like this year only get 500,000 or 600,000. That impacts us directly.
I think one thing I have tended to look at over the years, Ed, and maybe you can do the deep dive on this now, is the sewer fund balance, right? I don't like to overshoot the sewer user fee when we're still sitting on a healthy cushion. But when I'm looking at page 2 of 5, it seems as though we've lost some of our healthy cushion.
We have. We have. And I think that the top of that page where I started my bullet points, I said, I think we should continue to look to replenish this. That 2.287 at the bottom there is going to take a hit of about $300,000. So we're going to be below 2 million.
How do you explain going from 3.36 last year to 2.28 this year? Where did that $900,000 go?
We paid for the I&I study. We had to pay the city of Stanford. There was outpayments there. Our expenses, as you see up at the top, of 4.2 million were above the budget. So, and look at 3.3. I put the date up there, Craig, of the balance, because at that time, Jennifer hasn't taken out yet the transfer to cover any overages for the year. She won't do it until generally the end of August. But that past year, we took out quite a bit, almost $1 million to cover our expenses for
legal.
Legal was another big one.
Yeah. Now, a portion of the I&I study, theoretically, we're going to get a check from the state of Connecticut.
We are so close. I can feel the check in my hand. We are that close.
And that's not small change. That's several $100,000.
It's 350 grand.
Yeah.
360 grand. That's a pretty good chunk of change for a study that we're paying 700,000 for. So that's why and I think to Ralph's question, you want to know why we're moving at such a pace and making sure we're doing everything. The DEP won't reimburse us if we're not following their guidelines and their approvals, which is We need to tell them what we want to do, and they approve it. We show them the cost to do it, and they approve that. They're turning it around quickly, but still, those are steps that we have to follow, and we have a good company that's walking us through that. And so far, knock on wood, we've been able to justify all of our expenses. So Craig, I think, I need to preface that July 26, 2021 date, and you look at the 2.287, that she hasn't corrected for the 300,000, 360,000 deficit that she's going to need to transfer over. And like you said, I got legal expenses. I have the 25 grand to environmental benefit payment. We have, I think the legal was over $100 and something thousand.
And remind me, over the last 3 years, what have our rate increases been? Someone have that at their fingertips?
Oof. Here's a good question.
I have full faith that Darren can find it within 60 seconds.
Okay.
Look at that. He's got a piece of paper.
You may have to read that.
Yeah, we can't read it, Darren. You're going to have to walk us through it.
Let's see. 2016, it was $5.38. 2017, $5.54. 2018, $5.65. 2019, $6.10. 2020, $6.55.
Okay. So the last 2 years were between 7 and 8%. The prior 3 years were not much, 2 to 3%, 2%-ish.
I think that corresponds with our including the 2 new crossings, increases in the Stanford WPCA, our flows going up over 900 million gallons in one of those years. The perfect storm, if you will.
So, all right. So our decision tonight is not to approve a specific rate, but is to approve moving to a public hearing and advertising an up to rate to invite public comment at the public hearing in September. Is that correct?
That is correct.
All right, so we have some on item 7, page 1 of 5, we have some rate concepts and what they do for our budget. Commissioners have any, does staff have a recommendation, and do commissioners have any comments? So let's start with staff recommendation.
Well, Craig, knowing and seeing that we do have a surplus, regardless of, holding steady or a small increase, and understanding that our flows were a little bit higher this year and our flows to Stanford were a little bit lower, something's got to give a little bit. We were down in nitrogen credits. I think we need to move it a little bit, and anything under 2% would be good. Something close to 2 would be probably appropriate for what we're doing. We do have more expenses coming. I would prefer, with regards to doing some of this capital work, if we can pay straight up out of the reserve and improvements to our collection system account, I would transfer that in rather than bonding money and paying interest on it. So I think anything that we can start to kind of put away now, maybe that would help us dilute some of those costs.
I think depending on the type of work, there's certain work that you might want to move quickly on and be able to effectively use cash on. versus going through a bonding process. So I understand wanting to have that flexibility for critical do now stuff. So it sounds like staff is recommending 668, which would be a 1.98% increase. Commission members, do you have any comments on our conversation or what you think the increase should be, if any?
I'd be comfortable in that range completely. The only other thing is that would we see any hookup fees this year? Or would that be more of a lagging thing 2 years, 3 years down the line for larger projects? That might be a revenue add at some point if people do a large scale project. But I'd be comfortable with anything around 2%. I think that's fair.
Any other commissioner comments?
Yeah. Have you included in those numbers anything for inflation?
Pete, I think it's hard for me to affix an inflation number on it. All I really have to deal with right now is looking at the budget for the city of Stamford and the budget for the town of Darien, looking at the major impact items, if you will. A lot of their capital work and their rebonding and their recommissioning of bonds for themselves has a hard impact on those. I can see. I just don't think I could put a number on inflation, knowing that the budgets are the one driving me with the larger numbers right now.
Well, I mean, are there any capital expenditures that, like machinery that, you might get a jump on? I mean, is there any significant amount? Any of your pumps are?
No, Pete, that's a good question. I every year I try to put a little bit of money into our pump station upgrade account, our capital account. We just finished Seagate. That was probably one of the biggest ones we've done since I've been here, as with regards to a small station. I think Nearwater and Stony Brook, you can't include those in the conversation. We will continue to address deficiencies in our pump stations methodically, and that's why I'm putting money in there on a regular basis, whether it's 100,000 or it's 50,000, but there's money going in there so that we can attack these things before the prices for equipment start to go up every year, and like most things do. This year in particular, we're seeing some prices right now that are starting to impact us. So we may hold off a little bit until these things start to come back down again. There's no emergencies that I need to deal with, and if I do, I will pull the trigger and address the emergency. But right now, it sounds like we can hold off a little bit before we make some of these purchases.
Inflation, or historically, the money supply has increased by 3% a year, just because there's mistakes are made in the general economy, and they have to supply extra money. That leads to some inflation. I don't see that you'd have much inflation on the rates we're being charged by Stamford. So the only thing that, and I think you've covered it well, is on equipment. So I go with what you said. That's fine with me.
Okay, Susan or Bob, do you have any comments on?
Just pigtailing on, or piggybacking, sorry, on Peter's comments. I know that Stamford is doing work. I don't know if that, if that is factored in or not. I don't know exactly the work that they're doing to their plant, but so, I mean, I would be more comfortable in, if you're saying we're going to get a check for 300,000, just we'll say 300,000, and any of these 1.53 or above are 200,000. So we would hopefully be replenishing the reserve fund by $500,000, and then using some of that for, I'll say, quick fixes. It's not meant as a derogatory term. It's just things that you can get bang for the buck and do quickly. I mean, if we think there's going to be more of those, then I would be tempted to go a little higher, because we definitely don't want to dip more into the reserve fund, but I think we want to have enough there to be able to do the immediate fixes that would benefit us. So I would be more apt to the 2.29, I think.
All right, Susan?
Hi. I agree with Bob. I'm comfortable with 1.98, but I'm also comfortable with 2.29. We
Well,
can
since at this
adjust it.
point, it's about up to, and we can have a final discussion after the public hearing. So I guess I'd be comfortable going along with that. Does someone want to make a motion to authorize a public hearing to discuss a rate increase of up to 2.29% to $6.70 per 100 cubic feet?
I will make a motion to have a public meeting for the rate establishment for the year 2021 and
22.
excuse me, 2022, sorry. And the rate could be increased a maximum amount of 2.29% up to a rate of $6.70 per CCF.
Okay, do we got a second on that motion?
I'll second it.
Peter beat you to it, Reese. And any further discussion on that motion? Darren, do you have something?
Small point, tax collector asked, so whatever you do, make it an even number.
$6.70 is a nice even number.
It is an even number, and I know you'll probably end up there. The reasoning is people split their bill. They don't like to have bills that are different in amount.
Like 68 and 70 are both even numbers, where 65 creates a half a penny. I get it. Thank you, Darren. Any further discussion on the motion? All right, roll call. All those in favor, Susan,
Yes.
Peter,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes.
Reese, you there?
Yep, yes.
And Craig is a yes, so we can move forward with the public hearing. Sounds good. Moving on. Oh, so there you go. 8. That would be just before our regular meeting is when we usually do it. Comfortable with that?
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be there, but
September 7th?
the 7th, yeah, I'll be there. Sorry. The week after I won't.
Okay.
So yes, I'll be there.
Everybody good with September 7th? Sounds good. Is that all you needed for number 8? Okay. Number 9, superintendent's report.
Sounds like I just did this. So
You did a lot of it.
let me add a few things. I don't think I got a chance to put in there, but like I said, the smoke testing is tentatively scheduled for the week of September 1st. We have a conference call the week of the 16th of August to get our group all together. Police department, fire department is going to be included, of course. The folks that are doing this have done this numerous times, so they have some insight on who to notify. Things like doing it next to I-95. We should actually let the state troopers know too, in case the fog or the smoke goes up close to those areas. They get phone calls. So we're going to have a meeting to discuss that, and hopefully all goes well. September 1st, we'll start our smoke testing. We did finalize the review of the pump station inspection report. We spent quite a bit of time, myself and the team, Darren and Tony Campanella, and all 3 of the guys from the sewer department. I made them all read it. I made them all add comments. We sat down, we went through every pump station, all 14 of them. And then just last week, we conference called in Arcadis, and we went through all their lists, and we made some adjustments, we made some comments. We had some really good discussions, and I think after the 2 hours, we have a really good report. They're going to update it. They're going to send it over to us for a final review, and then we're going to wrap up that pump station. Now, pump station report. Just so you folks know, we're not waiting for the report to end. These guys have already started doing a lot of the repairs and a lot of the touch-up work. Some of it, some major work, some of it a little TLC to the stations, but things that they take to heart right now, and then felt that with the nice weather, we can continue to start doing it. Those things, if completed before the report's done, we'll mark off as addressed instead of items that need to be taken care of. The report is very easy to read. I think when we're done, I'd like to send it to all you folks so you can take a look at it. It will be included and sent to our folks at Save the Sound, as I believe as part of our consent decree. So any comments from you folks will go a long way in making sure that this report is read properly and shows us, in the light that we deserve to be in. Stanford WPCA invoice review. We completed that about 2 weeks ago. We did finally have a conference call with our review and auditor. It appears that I've been doing, I guess, a decent job, and found that most of the things that I had caught, he had caught also. There is a couple items he would like me to bring to their attention the next time that we do a contract extension or negotiation, depending on which one it is, with regards to some of the capital work billing and some of the laboratory work billing. He thinks that there's an opportunity to reduce some of that charge back to us. Also, in the administrative line items, he believes that if the certain employees are not being charged to the sewer treatment plant, which some of the field guys are not, then their benefits shouldn't be either. So those are just some of the things that we've brought up in the past. But all in all, I think it was a good review. It made me feel better about what I've been doing the last couple of years. I think he came up with some good suggestions. Any questions?
Yeah, now for the easy part, to get the WPCA to address them.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a task in itself.
But honestly, better that you have a professional substantiating the recommendations.
Yeah,
carry a little more weight.
From what Darren was telling me, this was the same gentleman that assisted in the last negotiation, I think, when Bob Steger had redid the contract, renegotiated the contract. Seagate Pump Station plantings are now completed. They have been in place for, I'd say, almost a month now. So we may have just missed the last meeting with this, but seems that the resident next door and ourselves, in cooperation and splitting the cost, we came up with a good project that's been done now. So that station is now completed. I think the one item I'd like to do is that we do have a propane tank out there. I'm either gonna clean it up, paint it up, or put a new one in. Really depends on what the propane company says. So we're gonna have them come and take a look at the tank and see if we need to replace it or not. But it's outside the station. It's not gonna impact anything that we've done. And it didn't need to get done before the station. It was just kind of an afterthought. It was hidden for years behind a lot of bushes. I think some of the bushes now have died and it's kind of showing itself. So we'll take a peek at that. The Nearwater pump station fencing repair has been completed also. The guys really got on that as soon as we asked them to do it. Hopefully it'll keep the complaints from the residents down at Norotan Bay in check. We do want to be good neighbors, want to keep our place clean. We do have a section that I'm going to review with Steve and the boys about doing a little additional fencing repair on the left-hand side of the station, but that's small. That's just something I noticed while I was down there the other day. I think Darren's going to update us on the Brookside pump station property survey. He was taking care of that.
Yeah, it's all done. We did have a survey. They did stake it out. We know exactly where our property lines are now, and apparently it's been done for a while. We just haven't reported it because we didn't have a meeting. So there's some fencing work there to be done too on the enclosure. But as far as the property line, we now know where it is. If there's anything special that think we should do.
Aaron, would it make any, just a quick question, would it make any sense to record that map on the land records? If anybody buys the house next door and they don't have a proper survey, they'd be able to find the meets and bounds? The budding map?
We had them stake it out. I'd have to look. I'm not sure we even got a map. We had them
Oh,
stake
okay.
it in the field. But if we do, we could definitely do that. It's a very small fee, or actually the fee, it's free. The town clerk will waive the fee for us. So I'll make a
And
note of
Reese,
that.
I think that map should be on, registered in land records here in Darien to begin with. But of course, if they come to us, we're more than happy to provide it for them.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome. It's just so that if anybody was interested later where the boundary is, it won't, better fences make better neighbors. Great surveys make great neighbors. That's for you, Greg.
Good suggestion, Reese. It sounds like we're going to do it once we've got the final map.
Thank you.
Darren, you got sewer manhole raising?
We did 10 before July 1. The manholes ranged from locations where our plows have been chipped to manholes that were cracked and broken, and to manholes that were buried and in need of raising prior to our paving program, which is in progress right now. We plan to do at least another 10 now that it's after July 1 for this fiscal year also.
Okay. The last topic, those are public service announcements. I think what we put, when we put this on here, the discussion was going to be more towards, there was a outside agency, generally not related with sewer, had asked if they could put something in our sewer billing. It would be the sustainability, Craig. I think the thing that
By the way, the reason that question was asked was not to put stuff in your bill. We were asking how much it costs to send a townwide mailing, and it got
okay.
kind of confused.
Then it
was like, oh, they want to put something in your,
Yeah, and I don't know. Kathy kind of had moved it around, and I just listen. We just wanted to make sure that you folks were up to date on it. But if it's a mute point, it's a mute point.
Yeah, I wouldn't pursue that at this point. I'm a little worried about having all this paper in there because we really want them to read, even you got, I always like to say, you got 6 words and like 3 seconds for people to pay attention. And even the one page that we boiled down the backflow valves and illicit connections into, I get a lot of junk mail, and it's in the recycling bin before I even walk into my house. So I'm trying to figure out, how we even simplify the one page, right, with bold lettering and say, if you have a sump pump connected to the sewer, it must be disconnected, and then have the fine print, right? Right now we've got 11-point font for a very full page, and some people just don't care that much. And then to tag on to that, this 5 or 6 page fact sheet on sewage backups,
Craig, that wasn't my intention.
Oh, that wasn't your intent. Okay.
No, just like, listen, first things first, I think the backflow valves and the illicit connections are very, very important. That, I believe, must go in our bill, and I'd like to follow up what we've done in the past. This other sheet, I wanted to show it to you. We'd like to find a way to get it to our residents and our sewer users. Putting in the bill, I'm like you, I don't think it would fit, and 2, it would get read. So I'd like to find a way.
Maybe we can
good piece to get out there to talk about.
Yeah, maybe we can redesign page 12 of 12. And if there's 3 things we want to say, we say them as simply as possible, right? Which is, 1 sentence each in big font, right? We want sump pumps disconnected. We want to let people know that if they have plumbing fixtures below the street level, they need a backflow valve, and maybe we want to say, hey, if you happen to have a sewer backup, you might want to follow this link to the Public Health Department of Connecticut Department of Public Health. I don't know. Thoughts on that?
I mean, I like it being short and simple. If you are talking to the public and saying illicit connections, I would say that the vast majority have no idea what an illicit connection is.
Yeah.
So I don't believe, I mean, even if you just want to say the sump pumps, the roof drains and curtain drains can also be, you know, a lot of water, but sump pumps, I think you need it to have it be the header and to draw the people in. I don't believe that
Yeah, that's
they
our
would know what an
biggest
illicit
problem right now.
connection would be. So basically, I think you need the 3 headers, like Craig said: backflow, sump pump, and in the event of a sewage spill. And then have, you know, those be the bullets and hopefully draw the people in.
Would you be willing to send me a Word file of this, and maybe I can give you some thoughts?
Sure. But we're in agreement where this would be something that we could put in this year's billing again?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yes, absolutely.
We have till next meeting, then we could still come up with something then.
Well, I'll work with you offline then to see what it might look like. Was that it under superintendent's report?
That's it, sir. Absolutely done.
Bob, do you have any new
Can I
business?
ask one question of the superintendent?
Yes,
How did Corbin Drive survive with the big storm here? I know it's been a point where we've had major spikes in flow.
I be honest with you, Bob, I can't tell you how it reacted down there. We didn't have any sewer overflows reported to us, but I
Okay.
do understand the downtown area was kind of knee deep with water to begin with. There was one guy that caught a fish on the post road, I understand.
Yeah, I would assume that came from Tilly's. There's been koi in there for a number of years.
He was
Where he went back.
He was nice enough to put it back. But to be honest with you, Bob, I didn't get any reports, and I didn't actually get down to that area of town to kind of put my eyeballs on it. Sorry.
Okay, I was just wondering because didn't we have some kind of repair down there? I can't remember the issue that we found.
Yeah, I think during the flow testing, we observed a immediate reaction between rainfall and flow in a pipe in that facility,
And I thought it was attributed to a manhole cover, if I remember correctly.
I don't remember that part.
Yeah, I think it was just a notice of a peak in the flow during a rainstorm, and it was immediate. We didn't identify that this time. We weren't down there looking for it. The previous storms where I was able to put guys at those manholes, we didn't notice a spike. They will be doing smoke testing in that area, so we'll possibly be able to identify any type of illicit connections or direct storm drain connections.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Craig,
Yes, Monica.
going back to the storm, Ed, maybe can you cover the manholes and the sewage and the connection there on Crimmins?
What specifically you're looking for, Monica?
Were the manholes locked? Did the manholes open up accidentally?
I did not see any of them, me in particular, see any of them open up. Flows were coming out of them. Once the river had subsided, we did have sewer overflows out of those areas. We did have to report them to the DEP. There are some that are locked and some that are not.
Okay. I guess that's really what I'm asking. Those on that road were not locked?
I can't say specifically which one's on the road. I believe only one on the roadway. Most of the sewer goes behind the properties to our pump station.
Uh-huh.
And there are a couple of them that are locked along that way.
Okay, all right.
All right, item number 10, any new business for the commission? Sounds like we might be ready to adjourn.
Well, if that's the case, I'd make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll second.
All right, all those in favor, make some positive remark or signal. All right.
Yes.
I'm going to say that we're now adjourned. Darren, you can stop the recording.
Yay.